Let's talk about one stock now that has been a big mover in the month of November actually. DLF is the stock that we're talking about. Even today the stock is up 1% and in the month of November it's gained about 35%. Now it did get a breather from the Supreme Court with respect to the CCI payment. Remember, it has been alleged with misusing its dominant position, on the back of which it was slapped with a 630 crore fine from the CCI. Ashok Tyagi, the group CFO of DLF, joins us now to talk about that. Mr. Tyagi, good morning. Good to see you in after a while. If you could just tell us, how you will be financing this entire payment that you have to make of 630 crores. I understand that it will be in installments now, but will you finance it through profitability, through your cash reserves? What will be the debt situation now and how much pressure would you see?
Okay. So as we have said, even in our analyst presentation, and I think that trend continues, that obviously while post the order that we got from SEBI, which sort of did to some degree impact our ability to raise money through non-convertible debentures, etc. So, but we are working with the banks to ensure that we stay liquid, and I think we should hopefully do so. However, it will be obvious, very obvious to say that this is a welcome relief to the degree that the Honorable Supreme Court has given it, and we'll obviously pay it on the dot as and when the court demands it.
Oh, good morning, Mr. Tyagi. Thanks for joining. Overall, what's the working capital and debt position? Are things getting a little better, even if you can't access the equity markets? On the debt side, are things getting a little better? Because banks are saddled with a lot of cash and very few borrowers, effectively is borrowing rates coming down even a smidge?
Okay. So the way I'd say it is that the borrowing rates on the rental assets, which is the lease rental discounting and mortgage bonds and those sort of products, are clearly I think southwards. The borrowing rates on the development side of the business are still firm at somewhere between 12.5% to 13% levels. And I think, but on the rental side, clearly they are on the downward trend for sure.
Okay. And this particular relief that you don't have to pay 480 crore right away will improve things a bit, or is it just that a potential problem has gotten resolved, that's all?
I think it's the latter, because the fact is that I still need to provide for the 480 crores. It's just that across, instead of it being on a single day, it needs to be provided across maybe a period of 6 or 7 months. But clearly, I mean, a clear liquid provision has to be carried in the books and in the treasury to ensure that whatever is the final Supreme Court decision is honored to the T.
Can you size up the Urban Development Ministry's approval of a higher floor area ratio for Delhi, both for you and for the industry? For you, does it give you the capacity to build anything more at all? What is the land you own and how much more can you build? But more importantly for the industry, is elbow room to build more not negative for realizations?
So, I think if one can sort of, be slightly more than myopic beyond the immediate quarter or two or the pricing piece, anything which strengthens the supply pipeline, Lata, in the major metros is a welcome step. Clearly, the notification is split into two halves. One is the below 1,000 square yards, and I think the other is above 1,000 square yards. Obviously, in the relaxations in the 750 to 1,000 square yards bucket, we obviously, I don't think are an active player in that, but it would clearly give a boosted supply to a lot of those independent floor sort of products that exist in Delhi. I think the implications on the larger plots and how do they impact the group housing societies that we are developing is something that we need to study. But overall, anything which strengthens FAR, makes it more realistic and improves supply is a good development in the medium term.
I'll come to the details of that in a bit, Mr. Tyagi. But before that, what does the second half of the year look like in terms of launches? Because you will need to have a substantial amount of launches, revenue recognition, in order to keep your debt under control. So can you just take us through what the pipeline could look like?
Okay, so in fact the pipeline is what we had delineated I think last quarter as well, which is that we should hopefully be able to do the launch of one additional product in the luxury segment at the Golf Course Road. Our camellias, which is the golf course villas, continue to sell, and I think they will sell it there. And there's been some degree of strengthening in the pace of sales in the last quarter, as you must have seen in the results. We do plan to launch at least one new development in what is loosely called the new Gurgaon area, which should hopefully be at the right ticket sizes to facilitate a fast off-take. So that's really what one is looking at right now between now and March. If things continue to strengthen, then maybe another launch in the new Gurgaon area could also happen.
So you did see a sales booking of about 900 crores or so in the quarter gone by. Can you give us any kind of trajectory for the second half of the year? What could the quarterly run rate look like?
So, I mean, clearly, we have done about 1,200 crores in the first half of the year, 300 in Q1 and 900 in Q2. Last year, if you see, we had done about 3,500 crores of total sales bookings. And we continue to be optimistic based on, whatever we have lined up for Q3 and Q4 and the sales of camellias, that, we should try to hopefully at least hit that number, if not meet, anything higher than that. But 3,500 crores looks doable as we speak right now.
Okay, finally, sir, to hark back to the old problem, the inability to access capital markets, have you got a handle on how you will handle the maturity of the CCPS?
So that's an important thing, Lata. I think we still have almost 4 months before that comes up finally. Our SAT hearings begin on December 10th. So I think obviously we will need to keep on making plans of all alternative scenarios given the various how things shape out. But that is something that maybe 6 to 8 weeks from now I should be able to give you a clearer view on what do we do under what scenario.
Okay. Just one final question. You were telling us about the impact of the FAR in Delhi. What is the exact developable area that DLF has in Delhi which could be impacted by the FAR? And on the whole, how much do you expect the real estate prices to get impacted by?
So the real estate prices in Delhi in the independent floors, which is the market which should mostly be impacted by this development, have already been under reasonable degree of pressure in the last 12 to 18 months. So I think obviously this will not have an immediate relief. Okay. But as I said that over a medium term, I think if this bolsters supply, maybe it will obviously have some degree of plateauing impact or a tempering effect on any further price increases, maybe some minor southward trends also. But it's I think it's something which will by and large impact the what we call the independent floor market. The group housing market which we operate in is really a different animal.
All right, Mr. Tyagi, we'll leave it at that. Thank you very much for joining us this morning and clarifying a host of issues.